How many of you would like to have more fun in your lives? Raise your hands. Make more money. Lose weight eating chocolate. Can't help you with that last one at all. But the reality is that there is something inside of us. And that's why you're here. There's something inside of us that's about wanting to get unleashed. And so it occurred to me years ago that it was absolutely necessary that the workplace be transformed. It's not okay the way it is. What I want to have happen is I want people to not be living in the language of thank God it's Friday. Now I like Fridays too and I love weekends, but I think it should be thank God it's Monday, thank God it's Tuesday, thank God it's Wednesday, and that at work we get to express ourselves and create, on the weekends we get to relax and the world is about serving us and we get to, spend time with our families and rejuvenate. But inside every one of us is a desire that's like a flame that needs to have our life matter for something. And that flame has been practically blown out for the vast majority of human beings. And so when I realized that it doesn't take much to click that back on again and get people alive, I realized that I was going to be kind of busy for a while. I moved to Minneapolis about 10 years ago. When I first moved there, I went to the first place you must go to when you, of course, go to Minneapolis, which is the Mall of America, of course. And so when I went to that mall, I intended not to shop, but only to see what was there. And I went from store to store to store, and every store I walked into, they said the exact same thing. You know what they said? Can I help you? I'd say back, no, just looking. We had a routine. Till finally a young man, as I walk into a store, looks me in the eye, and he said, stay there. I thought, this is going to be good. So I stood there for a while. He comes back with a blue sweater, drapes it over my shoulders, drags me to the mirror, and said, look at what this blue sweater does to your blue eyes. You'd have to carry a baseball bat just to beat away the men. I own that sweater. And about half the things that were in the store that day, because this kid knew how to be extraordinary. And as I was driving home that day, I thought to myself, isn't it ironic that everyone else in that Mall of America said the exact same thing as if on rote, stuck in a pattern, doing the same thing the same old way, never challenging the thinking, and one person stands out and gets all the sales. And I thought, Emmerich, what are the ways in which you are desperately trying to fit in and not being who you are? Well, the number one value that we stand for within our company is client success. Other companies always talk about customer satisfaction, and I've always found that intriguing. If you think about it, if you have a satisfied customer and they can get pricing better someplace else, they're going to leave you. And so it kind of misses the point. Plus, it doesn't engage the people within the organization to understand that the whole point of this is to create results. Banks get their exec teams together and you have your strategic planning retreat, right? And there's a couple things we know about how those things work. First of all, where do you go? Out of town, to a hotel, conference center, up someplace with a log cabin, whatever. You go away. And what do you wear? Khakis, okay. And then you have this facilitator who comes in and they help you, first of all, work on your mission statement. And your mission statement, it comes out something like this: to be a leading provider of pharmacy services in a 4-county area with outstanding customer service, high quality products, and above rate of return to our stakeholders. Some of you have that mission statement or something like that? And so you bring this back to the peeps and they go, woohoo, right? No, they don't. There's nothing exciting about that. But there's something really exciting and really powerful about having a vision of what extraordinary looks like. John F. Kennedy had a vision: put a man on the moon by the end of the decade. At the time that he said that, was that possible? Not a chance. In retrospect, we now know we only had 15% of the information we needed to accomplish that. 15%. Any reasonable human being would have said, you have got to be smoking something, right? That was the 50s, 60s. It seemed impossible.
but in our hearts and our minds and our souls, we thought, wouldn't that be great? And it caused action.
Everything we want is always just right outside our comfort zone. And so the point of what we're trying to get people to understand is that you just keep taking the comfort zone out. And so now, you know, I would want every frontline employee acting as if they run the joint and growing themselves to that capacity, thinking in those ways, coaching the people around them, because when they're thinking in that way, now the company can have a transformation. You saw some pictures of some of my clients up on the screen. Archie McDonald, when we started working with them, was running one of the lowest performing banks in the country, in the state of Mississippi, and he said to me, Roxanne, we've got the highest poverty rate in the country. It's just hard here. And I stuck my fingers in my ears. And I said, I'm not listening, I'm not listening, I'm not listening. And I will tell you that they went from a $300 million bank 5 years ago when we started working with them. They're now over $1 billion bank. They've been in the top 10% of performance over the last 3 years in a row, and they were just listed as one of the 100 safest banks in America. And so, you know, part of it is getting people aware that they're in charge, that they get to create an understanding in people that this could be better. That let's get about not just customer satisfaction, because that's awfully boring. Let's get about customer success. Let's make sure that everyone who walks in, that we just blow them away, as opposed to having people come in and doing my job and then punching out and then going home, to be instead of the mindset of let's blow away the customers, let's have a ball working with each other, let's have fun, let's celebrate, let's high five all throughout the day about the successes we create along the way. And when one person takes a stand for that, things just shift. But oftentimes people are fearful to be the one who takes the stand.
And so I thought, okay, how bad can it get? I followed her. We went to her new accounts desk. She sat down, she looks me in the eye, and she said, I need your social security card and your driver's license. And I thought to myself, nice getting to know you too. You see, had she asked me some questions, what brings you to town? Oh, what kind of business do you have? How many employees? Did you move your family? Have you found a home? Kids got to school yet? What does your husband do? What kind of business does he own? Da, da, da. She could have opened up 13, 14, 15 accounts. What'd she get? Exactly what she deserved. Because life gives to the givers and takes from the takers, and the world has a perfect accounting system, and I guarantee you, you have people who are doing transactions in your businesses.
And it is my vision for this book that whole organizations will read it at the same time. So that, because, you know, when one person reads it, now there's one person with an idea. But they're going back to the same workplace with the same people who are stuck in the same behaviors and the same excuses and the same stories, and so they get disheartened soon and forget to implement what they've learned. And so it is my dream that organizations will, you know, all read it at the same time, make one commitment, and do that one thing by raising the bar on that one thing and building that to impeccability before they roll the next one, and just keep having a series of rollouts happening over and over again so they can feel what confidence feels like from making that change happen. We can shift our consciousness, we can shift our IQ, we can shift our abilities, we can shift the calmness that we feel, we can shift all of those things. We can shift the cultures of the organizations when we shift the mindsets of the people within it, and you can do those shifts when you decide to. When you create that pattern of commitment to growth, of saying whatever's out there, there's so much more for me.